is Rachel Mikaye, and I'm happy to see you again on Consent Hub. Consent Hub is an initiative by Duosho Initiative supported by Amplify Change, where we talk and demystify everything surrounding consent. But today I am not alone. I have a special guest with me today where we're gonna talk about consent across cross-cultural understanding. So her name is Esinam Amuzu, and I'm happy to have her here. We are going to have her understanding on consent as well and what the topic that we have today means to her. So join us as we navigate this topic. So, Esinam, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm good.
I'm happy
and
to
happy
see you.
to be here as well.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me, what is your understanding of consent?
So I think generally, consent for me, within the context of sexuality and issues of sex, is just a person agreeing, accepting, understanding that I know what I am going into, I know what we are about to do, and I agree, and yeah, let's flow. As simple as that. I'll just use it on those terms. I don't want to repeat the word consent, but understanding, accepting, and agreement.
Yes, I think I agree with you, and that's what we have spoken about. And consent across different cultures today. How do you think consent across different cultures is like, especially in Ghana, like as we find ourselves here?
I know, right? That is the issue. So, unfortunately, in our Ghanaian society and amongst many young people, even different generations, in the past there have been this cliche which most of us don't subscribe to, that silence means yes.
Yes.
In young people will tell you that, or some young people will say, oh, if she says no, she means yes. You know, exactly. It comes across. Yeah. So you hear people, you're talking to boys, and then they tell you, oh, she didn't say anything, so she meant yes, or she said no. When she says no, it is consent. No, someone said no. How can no turn into an opposite yes and means consent? And so that has been the challenge within our Ghanaian context. Also, at the back of it is male dominance, issues around patriarchy, issues about what the boy wants, what the guy wants. And so two people are in a relationship, and if it is about what the guy wants at that particular point in terms of sex or issues of sexual relations, yes, the woman has no say. When she says no, it means rather that she said she has consented. And so I would say that people do not really understand the concept of consent within our societies. Maybe we are making progress, or we have made progress with a lot of advocacy and education amongst people within that context. And so it's changing, it's gradually changing, but generally in this Ghanaian context, the real concept and understanding of consent, really, we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, and probably I will add on to that by saying in some cultures, like in West Africa in general, where you find young girls being betrothed to men, even at a young age. As soon as you are born as a woman, you already have a man that is supposed to marry you, where you do not have a say, you do not have a choice, and that has been culturally perpetuated across generations, and sometimes it become tradition. That also go back to the fact that consent, what is the place of consent in our traditions as society, where sometimes in India, for example, the marriage rights in India, where
your parents find spouses for
you, and you do not have a say, because based on wealth, based on business related, etc. And it all this undermines the importance of the roles of the young woman in the society.
And the last one, on even talking about culture, FGM as well. So a girl is born, and then per societal rights and culture and all of that, her clitoris is cut because society thinks that keeping that is going to make her promiscuous in future. And so the girl is not asked anything, and then they cut her clitoris, making her prone to a lot of infections and all of that.
It means they decided
for her. Exactly. Child marriage, and what you mentioned clearly has been a driver of child marriage, which has led to increased numbers of child marriage within our traditions.
So it means that in our cultures and traditions, we are only talking about the African context or tradition, because we are both from this culture, we are both from here. Maybe if you have something about your culture and tradition that you would like to share, so we examine consent from different perspectives, we'll be happy to have that. But consent in our society is very much frowned upon. It is hard, even for a woman
to, it's really gendered,
to say what she likes. They create this barrier of shyness. As a woman, you probably do not really have a say or do not have a choice about your preferences in men, about your type of men. Whenever you find a woman making a choice, like being loud about her choice of men, they ask her, why you as a woman? Because it is a man that is supposed to choose you. You do not have to choose a man, etc. Or even a woman being loud about her sexual preferences, etc. It's really much frowned upon. Exactly. So it makes consent discussions very difficult culturally.
Yes, and someone will say, like, it's treated as a sacred thing, like, so you cannot talk about it openly.
And I also think with that comes the power dynamic.
Exactly. Who is leading?
The power dynamic in that aspect, because it's always the people in authority, the people who have much power, that things that they will decide. And in that case, the people who have much power are men. And even examples will go like in school, where young girls find themselves having to sleep with their lecturers or teachers because they have the power. They are probably coerced into doing that. They do not have a say because their result is at stake. It happens a lot. So power dynamics plays a whole lot of role in consent decisions in our culture. Like in our culture. And to not be long, how do you think that communication styles have evolved in consent? Like when we talk about communication cues, communication styles from beginning, sometimes like you mentioned that's why I'm bringing that. When she says no, or maybe they go back on your body language, and you have families backing that up.
Like you mentioned, a lot of times the girl is like she's silenced, and so we are not even taught, or we are not socialized to be able to be vocal about our sexualities and what we want, about our choices, about being vocal. So when it happens like that, in such situations, a girl being vocal about what she really wants in those contexts is seen as the bad child. And so when you even have a man making advances towards you, or you have your family giving you pressure, it puts you in that place of saying, if I go talking right now, they're going to say I'm the bad child, so let me keep quiet. So once you are not socialized, you don't even know how to react to those things. And that is why then they come back and would say that, oh, hey, she meant no, but her body language said yes. Her body language never said yes, because she has not been socialized, because we don't have that, we've not been taught that power, or we don't have that agency to be able to voice and say, my no is my no, or my yes is my yes. And so I think in that aspect, we really need to do more, especially in empowering our girls, the adolescents who are coming to know that their voice has power, and that they can be able to say no. They should be able to consent to when they want to have safe sex, who they want to get married to. They have to be able to consent. You can't betroth them. You can't give them out in marriage when they don't know what is really happening, because at the end of the day, favor someone, it really does not favor the girl. Even if it's about wealth, like you mentioned, they're giving the girl out in terms of what the family tends to gain. So we need to really start building agency and voice for our girls, for the young women who are coming, to be able to voice those things out and stand their grounds.
I agree with you, but sometimes you see, it is so sad that those who are even able to voice out their consent, they are marginalized, or they are hated.
Why not? Society will always marginalize.
You are hated upon when the moment you start being
But it should not stop us. I agree. I totally agree that a few people who have voiced out have become the scapegoats that society marginalizes, exactly, that society frowns against. But for me, I feel like once it is a campaign, we are pushing, it is an agenda, we need to keep going. And you see, the thing is, when we keep quiet, then it is like we have subdued you again, right? We have silenced you again. So in the past, that's what they were doing, and the women kept going underneath or hiding, and then we never got that agency. So now when we voice out and they come at us, the best we can do is to give support. At least we should build those collective networks, we should build those supportive systems, because they'll always come at us. That is the thing. They'll always come at us. In nothing, I think we would get that liberation in some time in the future, but for now, once we are breaking and challenging the status quo, they are going to come at us, but that should not deter us. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you for that. And last question, do you think that consent, like the understanding of consent, like propagating exactly, especially what we are doing here at Doso Initiative with Consent Hub, we were in a school last time, and the concept of consent is totally lost on young people. So I think, how do you think that we can enhance that, especially till it gets to the people deep rooted in the traditions, so young generations don't have to suffer what we previously suffered?
I think that's why what you're doing at Joso Initiative is very, very important, and that is why you need to keep going. Exactly, because the concept of consent is really lost on a lot of people. People really would always attack you and come at you when you talk about consent. Like, let's talk about even the issue in basic terms, sex. When you tell them, oh, even at that point when the woman or the woman says no, stop, you need to stop, and then they tell, when she has led me on, you understand, we still need to unpack a lot of things. I think what you started in educating young people really is important, and I hope that we keep this going, reaching them one person at a time or one group at a time, and definitely, exactly, that's why we need to really invest more in initiatives like what you are doing to really get to more people at the grassroots level, both men, women, girls, boys, everybody. We need to get the information going, and gradually, information is has a way of changing mindset. We know that change is gradual, change comes, but then it takes time. So these ones are now coming up. So once you catch them young, like we always say, it gets into them, and by the time
catch them young in a good way, because that is what they say, and they mess up young girls' life. Catch them young in a good way. So thank you so much for doing this with me. It's been insightful. I think understanding the concept of consent in a cultural dynamic just like Ghana means that we need to pick up from the cues. We need to allow young women voice out their consent properly. Parents and families do not have the right to decide for young women or young people on the choice of their partners, on the choices of their sex preferences, and whatever they want to do. I mean, like we've said before, consent is your power, and every human being has the right to give their consent. So thank you so much, and thank you for being here, and we will see you next week Tuesday on Consent Hub. Bye.